Good afternoon. My name is Bob Phillips, and I want to talk to you about the new Boy Scout rules for the tenderfoot, second class, and first class cooking requirements for your advancement. Since we can't be together in the campgrounds, on hikes, and preparing each other's meals, what we need to do, the Boy Scouts have said we can relax those rules and you can camp at home, cook outdoors as if it was a regular campout, and prepare meals for your family where it says that you were supposed to prepare them for your patrol or your troop. Remember that this is a campout, and if you were going to Greeno, you wouldn't have a refrigerator, you wouldn't have a stove and an oven, you wouldn't have flush toilets, perhaps. You wouldn't have places to wash up all the time. So you need to be prepared for that, just like you were camping at Greeno. The rules say we cannot add or subtract from the requirements, so we must find ways to adapt. All right, well, let's get started. So how are we going to meet these requirements? If we can't make a fire in our backyard because we don't have a spot that Mom and Dad will let us do that, if we don't have a little fire pit that we can use, how are we going to do it? It was easy when we planned to camp out to go to Greeno or somewhere. We'd bring the troop trailer, and in it would be everything we'd need to be able to have a successful camp out. We'd have a propane stove. Maybe we'd have a Dutch oven and a garbage can to cook it on. Metal, of course. How about a small charcoal grill? Maybe the troop has one of those so we can, if it's muddy or rainy, we can cook off the ground. How about the good old days? The good old days when you made the buddy burner. Remember the buddy burner with the tuna fish can and the cardboard and the candle wax? Maybe you could make some of those and do them in the backyard, not on the plastic table like this. Or how about a vintage, early 1900s propane-fueled camp stove? Uncle Ed from camp gave me that a few years ago to share with all the people I talked to, scouts, about cooking. But probably everybody has one form or another of a gas grill. Maybe it's 4 burners like I have, maybe it's 2 burners, maybe it's only 1 burner. And the trick, of course, is going to be to use that creatively so we don't have to just have hamburgers and hot dogs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we don't have to eat Pop-Tarts for breakfast. Maybe if we're going to feed our family, maybe we can make Mom and Dad and the rest of the family something nutritious, something different, something maybe even unexpected. And when we get back to camping together, these will be things you can do with your regular camp equipment. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to talk about is keeping our hands clean. It is extremely important during these COVID times to keep our distance and to wash, correct? So at any time, COVID or not, the cook needs to stay clean and the cook's assistants need to stay clean. And how are you going to do that at camp? You have to keep running somewhere to wash your hands. That's not going to work out. So what you need to do is think about the cook's wash station. The cook's wash station is nothing more than a windshield washer bottle. Obviously it's been emptied. Put some rope on it so you can hang it from a tree. Get a golf tee. Get a golf tee and stick the golf tee, make a hole in the bottom so that you can put a plug on this. And then when you go to use it, you need to just unplug it. You need to get your hands wet, so turn the faucet on. Get some soap, wash up 20 seconds, turn the faucet back on, rinse your hands, and shut it off. And if your cap doesn't fit real tight, it's going to dribble a little bit, so we don't want to waste it. So put your golf tee back in when you're done cooking. You can buy some of these chamois towels. They got a little snap on there to hook on your backpack. Hook it on the handle here so that you're all set. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's talk about breakfast. I think that's the meal we're going to start with today. And I've chosen a menu that's going to use a cupcake tin. my plan is to bake our eggs, bake our breakfast on the grill so that when we're done, dishes are done. A very attractive feature. Now, most of you don't have pie irons at home, I'm sure, but this is a tool. I'm going to make something with these to show you how that works. And then I would strongly suggest if you don't have one, then you look at it. Amazon makes these by Rome. They're just a neat little frying pan. You can see that I've used these. These are my mother-in-law's. These are probably well over 50-something years old, and they're still cooking. They stopped making the round ones for a while, but they're back, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the other thing that we have to talk about is our ingredients. Since this is what I chose, I figured I had a grill to work with. I didn't want to do a lot of cleaning up, and so I'm gonna do this. So I needed to get this. This was job lot kind of places. You can get them at the grocery stores. Because this is an experiment, I use the disposable kind, but you might consider this as a real cupcake tin in the future if you fall in love with this idea and want to use it time and time again. I needed eggs. I'm going to do some pre-cooked brown and serve sausages, so I don't have to worry about killing everybody from some sort of food poisoning. These are very convenient. They come in a million different flavors, and you can use those. I got some bacon. This happens to be artificial bacon, as it were, for the vegetarians. But also, I'm going to need a little bit of Pam. I'm going to try some biscuit dough for the pie iron. I'm going to need some bread. I'm going to need some butter. I'm going to need something to cut on, and I'm going to need my utensils. These are all things you have to think about ahead of time, because even though you're in your backyard, this could be Greeno or some other place, and you don't have a kitchen cabinet to go get these things from. All right, so you need to think about what tools, not only the menu, not only the materials, the ingredients you're going to need, and the cooking mechanism. You also need to be thinking about all the pieces it's going to take, because you can't keep running back and forth in and out of your house. That didn't go with you on your camp out. Okay, so remember that. So how are we going to get started? Well, the first thing we're going to do, we needed a trash bag. And the other thing is we moved the cook's wash station. The cook's wash station should not be in the prep area. It should be just outside it, away from, so you're not making a lot of mud. Okay? So the very first thing we can do, can't be any harder, is we're going to take a little bit of Pam, mostly because we can. Spray that up a little bit. We could drop an egg in here just like it is. Okay, nothing more magic than that. Or we could take some bacon, put a piece in the bottom, take the rest of it and line the cup. Maybe we'll need a little bit more there. Another egg. Okay. There's the handsome guy with the roll of paper towels doing things. Okay, so we got two things done. The other thing I was going to do is try to get toast and out of it at the same time. So I thought about just taking a piece of bread, and I do like the sweet bread, potato bread. It's a little thicker. Maybe we're going to put a little butter on there. We're going to take this and we're going to make a little pocket, I hope. Okay. Another egg. Good thing the chickens were busy last night. Come on. Give it up. Okay. Looks like that's trying to escape. That's the way it's going to have to be. Then I bought this Pillsbury dough sheet, and I thought I'd do the same thing with that. And I've never tried this before, so we'll all experience this together. First thing is trying to get the darn thing open. This could be the entertainment for this afternoon. Probably should have practiced this. Well, maybe we won't do it. Is there anybody in the audience that can get this thing open? Let's give it to the camera person. Okay, a few technical difficulties, but we're back on the air. I'm going to finish making this cup. Probably something like that. Pretty much the same as we did with the bread, only we're using this. Now that little roll of dough might be a lot easier to pack than the bread. The bread is going to be careful that it's going to get crushed. So maybe that is a smarter idea. So now we need another egg. Look, now there's an egg. Okay. So now what we can do for those who are interested is we can throw a little meat in there. Maybe we've already cooked some baking at home before you came out on your trip. And all right, these are just already cooked sausages. Just going to throw some in there. I don't want to double dip there. Maybe a few in here. That's kind of full already. Probably could have made them a little taller. Okay, what else do we want to do? That should be it for now. Make as many of these as you need. That's obviously 4 people. Maybe everybody wants 2. So you've got plenty of stuff to do to make more with. So let's do one thing with the pie iron. A couple of things you can do with the pie iron that I want to talk about. I talked to you about the round one, right? The round one is 2 cups. The reason I like that is because once I get my bread in here, then I can make a pocket, similar to we did with the egg. I can make a pocket and put more stuff in it. The traditional pie iron is flat. And so you're kind of limited to the quantity of things you can put in there. Okay, they're good for flat things like grilled cheese sandwiches, or maybe a couple of pieces of ham from the deli and make some cheese sandwiches. But if you wanted to do something else, desserts and whatnot, then that might be a little too not deep enough. This is a hot dog griddle pie iron. What I thought would be interesting with this is maybe pour some pancake batter in there and then take one of your sausages and lay it in each compartment. And then when you're cooking it, when it's all done, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little scouts in a sleeping bag. So maybe something to think about. They also make waffle ones of those, so you can do a waffle iron out in the woods. Okay, so you need to go right there. You need to go here. The premise behind all this is it's just like making a grilled cheese sandwich. You butter both slices of bread, one side only. Okay, then we're going to take our pie iron. We're going to put that, see here's the pocket we were talking about. We're going to make a pocket. Going to need an egg. Oh boy, still there. Haven't found any bears to come over and eat it yet. Do that. I like pre-cooking bacon at home and bringing it out on the camp out. You can do the sausages. If you've had hot dogs the day before, maybe this is Sunday's breakfast, you can put some hot dog bits in there maybe. You can put some linguiça. That's awesome. This would be the time to put salt and pepper because you're going to close this up. And there you go. It is done. This could be done on the propane burner. Just cook it like that. You could do this at home on your own stove. My wife and I have done that on occasion. Do it on the grill, and we will do that. So it's very versatile for any kind of a camp out. The buddy burner, the sole little buddy burner there, you could do it over that. All right. So we're going to get the stove started. It's very windy. Apologize for the shadows. Apologize for the noise. Sorry you have to turn the volume up. But it's been raining like crazy, and we want to get this done. So hopefully this will work out. All right. Okay. Gas grill is on. And what I've done with mine is I have 4 burners. So I've got the middle 2, let me turn you around here. That's better. I've got the middle 2 set for something very, very low. I want the bottom of the baking pan to be warm, and I want the other 2 sides, the outer edges, to be hot to go and get me the rest of the heat to surround, just like your oven would a cake or muffins that you were making in your house. So that's what I could do with this. If you only have 2 burners, then you want to do one of them really low, the other one higher. My experiment with a thermometer, a meat oven thermometer in there, was pretty close to what the top of the grill has. So it's going to be a look and see. You have to keep an eye on it, but that's what I've done. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes now, and what's happening inside? Now let's go back to this. What's happening inside is that this egg, the pastry we put in there, is starting to rise. So it's starting to get puffy, and it's pushing some of the egg out. And that's why we're seeing a little bit of egg on the side of our cupcake pan. This one over here that's just an egg with the sausage is doing good. With bacon, since it's already cooked, being turkey bacon, it's got the tall sides, so if the egg does start to expand any, it's going to have room to contain it. Bread. This is not working out with the hands, is it? Bread is could have pressed it down a little bit more when we were making it. I was in a little too much of a hurry, so that is an issue. As far as the pie iron is concerned, I got the pie iron on one of the hot burners. You have to be a little careful because you don't want to burn the bread before you get the egg cooked. All right, so this tends to be a little bit longer than if you were just going to cook, say, apple pie filling for dessert or something else, the mozzarella and maybe linguiça for lunch, making a cheese sandwich. That would go a little faster because the linguiça is already cooked. You're just trying to warm it up. But the egg, we do have to be concerned that we're giving the bread time to not burn while the egg is cooking. So we're just going to flip that over a little more often than we would like. Again, the bread is under here, Got two sides, and just like you would cook your grilled cheese, boom, boom, boom. And then the beauty with this too is when you're done and you open it up and you take your sandwich out of there, dishes are done. And that is what we're looking at. Okay, one last little look. Time to put this back to rest. So I got some heat here. Got lots of heat here. And my hope is that that'll all work and keep it surrounded. All right, back in a minute. Okay, it's about 10 minutes. We have made a change. We took the pie iron out. We were getting too much draft coming in through the front here. The wind's where's my finger? The wind's blowing in like this, and by having the door open to accommodate the handles of the pie iron, we had to take those out. So 10 minutes later, from we started, we're going to take a look and look what's happening already. We can see that with the sausage, the egg is turning white. With the bacon, we're also getting that. We could pop the yolk, make that go a little faster. We can see with the sausage here, and around it, we do have the white. The egg is starting to cook up. And then on this one, dough that we had put in has puffed up a little more than I guess we needed it to be to compensate for, but a bigger tin, a deeper tin would have worked out for that. So something also to think about. And this one here is almost done. So that seems to be working. We'll put the pie iron on, and when we get the baking eggs, my thought would have been that if you were doing one, you'd do one and not the other. You wouldn't use the pie irons and the baking at the same time. You probably would have made that choice. But I did want to introduce you to the pie iron and how simple it is. And you'll have to take my word for it on how delicious it'll be. But we will finish cooking it. We're just going to give our time to the baking. And each time we open it, the gauge does go down low, so we have to keep that in mind. You can't start cranking up the heat, hoping that it'll get hotter quicker. It will, but it'll get out of hand on you. So this one was, before I opened it, I should have shown you, but it was about 250, 260 degrees. So carry on. All right, we're up to 15, 20 minutes or so. I didn't do this last time, so I'm going to do it now. Temperature's up to about 280, or 300, I'm sorry, 320. So we're cooking along. I won't try to deny it. I did take a peek. So we're going to take another look here, and let's see how we're doing. Oh, I rotated. Ooh, probably shouldn't have done that. I did rotate the pan here just as I would a Dutch oven if I was cooking, to take advantage of the wind and the heat and the fire. So let's take a look here. Where are we? This is the egg and the dough, and that is hard. And we're going to look now at the sausage, and that is hard. We're going to look at the bacon, and that's good. This one here is just a little bit on top, but I think that's basically maybe some grease from the sausages. So that is in good shape, and we're going to take care of that right now. Get that off the fire. Take it and move it right over here. Let that sit for a second. Going to put that back on. Let me show you inside here. I unhooked. There's a little hook that goes on these to hold them together. So I have undone that. So it's starting to melt. The butter has already melted. Okay. Still a little wiggly. It didn't really have time to cook. So we're going to try speed that along right there, catch up with the rest. My camera assistant remembered that we had packed a toaster oven tray in our pack, and we took the leftover dough that we had. Let's get over there. All right, took the leftover dough that we had. She remembered a package or two of spaghetti flavored ketchup we had in our backpack, and some onions, some of the remaining sausages, and some cheese. The cheese we really did have for part of our meal for lunch. So we're going to put that on the oven. That could be something you could do here in the for lunch, making a pizza. Again, you could use the disposable, not necessarily muffin tins, but you could use a cake tin or something like that, deep dish kind of arrangement. So there are some multiple of opportunities. You don't just have to serve Pop-Tarts and Yodels to your family all weekend, and that isn't what you would have gotten away with at a real camp out. So you need to be thinking about what some things you have. And if all you have is a grill, you're not going to starve. And you can be versatile and use this again. We have in the troop made pizzas in a cardboard box oven, and cookies and other things, and that's an option for you as well. All right, so we'll start letting that cook, and we're going to take apart this egg thing here in a second. All right. And we'll get right back. To the conclusion here. We've emptied our cupcake tin, and they popped right out of there. So this was the sausage and the egg with no bread. This was the bacon and the sausage. The bacon and the egg.
Hold it in the sun.
Sun. Being told. Okay, so that was the bacon. That was the sausage. This is the one with the dough. It kind of has a croissant, poulon. And that looks good. And this was our bread, the potato bread. I like it. It's kind of thick. It has a nice flavor. And with the pie iron business, it's a loaf, so it kind of fits better. So then we have this, and that grease has absorbed. So probably, I'm sure you're all wanting a taste. Egg is cooked. So here, have a bite. Good, wasn't it? And dishes are done. Okay? So now what have we done? We've got our pizza's cooking. You can see the dough is rising already. We got our pie iron. So what I like to do, get that out here. What I like to do, I undo the hook, kind of tap it so that if it's stuck inside, it comes out. Got a little bit of char on the toast. Let's see what the other side looks like. A little bit better. It's a little bit runny. But we're trying to beat the weather here. So we have that. Let's put that back over here. And oh, by the way, dishes are done. Might take your paper towel, do that to it. Knock off any crusties that might be on the outside. Now dishes are done. A theme you'll hear from me a million times. Dishes are done. So let's open this up. Okay, got just a little bit of yolk in there. Still got our sausages. Nice. Absolutely nice. So, that's our breakfast. We'll be back in a minute and we'll talk a little bit about lunch. We've already got the pizza started because we did that with the dough. In retrospect, I don't know, just kind of clever, but certainly the dough would make a nice pizza in a round dish. Again, you could throw it away if you had to. All right, we'll get this cleaned up, and we'll do our lunch, and try dinner at the same time. All right, speed this right along. Okay, see you in a minute. All right, so now we're ready to check on the pizza. Pizza, we got about 300 degrees in there. That seems pretty good. We kept the same settings so that we had some heat on the bottom, but not everywhere. So let's take a quick look. Dough feels good. Oh, yes. Yep. Might have used a touch more Pam, but I think we're all set. So we'll get this off the grill. Put that there for the moment. And let's close this up and let's get started on our lunch. Get this. So now, it was my intention right along. You can obviously do your hamburgers, your hot dogs, you can do beans, you can do soups, you could do whatever you want. You got the heat, you got your pan. That's pretty straightforward. Okay. So now what we're going to talk about is we're going to go back to the pie irons, and we're going to talk about maybe a dessert. We're going to talk about a linguiça sandwich instead of the egg that we had before. We're going to do linguiça and mozzarella cheese, my personal favorite. And then we're going to bake a loaf of bread, pre-sliced bread, by the way. So for those of you who are bakers, baking bread is probably something you've done, but I'm not sure everybody has done pre-sliced bread. So let's get started with the pie irons. All right, back up here. We'll butter the one side, just like a grilled cheese sandwich, like we talked about before. This happens to be the same one we did the egg with. Put that in there, make a little pocket. Got our linguiça. I like to buy the hot dogs. It doesn't matter which brand. This happens to be Amaral's, but whichever brand you do, it's already cut the size you want. You just have to slice it. Okay, so we just make that kind of little bite-sized pieces. If you've been to the Klondike Derby and came through my station at lunchtime, this is what I eat every time. I like the grease. I like the cheese. Good to help keep your furnace going and stay warm while you're standing out there at the Klondike. So we're just going to throw those in like that. Going to take our shredded mozzarella cheese, any kind of cheese, doesn't even have to be shredded. And unlike the egg that we had before, we don't actually have to cook it to keep it safe. We're just warming it up. All right, the linguiça is already cooked. Could eat it raw if we chose to. So all we really want to do is melt the cheese. So this is going to go a lot faster. If we can get the bread to be kind of brown like it did for the egg, that's even nicer, and that's how we will gauge when it's done. But it doesn't have to be as slow as the egg. Egg you have to cook, and you don't want to burn the bread. So we'll put that there for the, oh, let's just do that. We don't need to keep it closed this time because we're just cooking one side at a time. It's not baking it like we did the other. So now what I want to do, I want to talk about dessert. And we can use the pie iron to make some fantastic desserts. And if you happen to buy one of these from the...
Sorry.
Still on?
Yeah.
Everybody all right? I'm not sure what you heard during the tape, but I'm sure it said something about I was going to sit. They have lots of recipe books, recipes everywhere. So we're going to take a pie filling. It doesn't have to be apple, could be cherry, could be whatever you like. Pumpkin doesn't work very well if you're doing this at the turkey shoot or whatnot. But any one of the pie fillings. You could do marshmallows, bits of chocolate, make a s'more. We're going to take our apple pie filling. We're going to put some in here. Okay, so we're going to have apple pie, pizza, linguiça, watermeal. All right, all in our backyard. Maybe we're going to do it at a camp out at Greeno or on a hike. I did a camp out one weekend with a couple of loaves of bread and my pie iron, and every meal was done with the pie iron to prove that it could be done. All right, so this is cold enough to be pizza left over from the morning. And the Pam
stuck to the pan.
Yeah, the Pam.
Oops.
Pam thing wasn't available at the time, so it is coming up, but a little. And the cheese had gotten under there. Okay, so that's the lesson, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes. All right, I'm going to leave that in there, but you can tell that's our pizza. That's a nice way to go as well. So now I promised you pre-sliced bread. So we're going to take our aluminum tin. We're going to give it a little spray. All right. And how are we going to get pre-sliced? Well, we're going to take our grams. We're going to take a container of biscuits. And as you know, they're already sliced and separated. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take it out and we're going to put it in here as a loaf. And then when we take it out, they're going to come apart and it'll be pre-sliced baked bread in the woods. Having watched this happen before, I'm hoping I'll be more successful. Okay, so we're just going to get this out of here. Might have to do it 2 shots. Okay, all right, they're already sliced. Put that in there. We're going to put that in there.